This video is sponsored by ViewSonic. Check the description to find out more about their Color Pro Series monitors. Can I animate Christmas cookies? My plan is to bake a bunch of Christmas cookies, and I want to stop motion them to life. And I want to tell the story of a gingerbread cookie that falls through a gauntlet of Christmas baking. The last few pieces of animation I've made for this series have been kind of technical and short, but I want to go all out on this one. I'm aiming for about 1 minute of completely fun, zany animation. I'm talking character performance, ragdoll physics, and some video game style chaos. Because I'm going to create such an ambitious piece of animation, the first thing I need to do is storyboard. When you're telling a visual story, it's a good idea to work out the timing and the key beats before you start filming. It's way easier to change a drawing now than to change your animation later on. You can see that I've drawn just enough to lay down a solid blueprint for what I want to animate, and I've timed out the storyboards, and this gives me a sense of the rhythm of the performance and the story beats. Now, I like to draw my storyboards on small note cards, and I find that this just takes all the pressure off of me to draw perfectly. So just a pen, little note cards, and just scribble down the ideas. So you're not aiming for perfect at this stage, you just want to get the ideas out of your head. And with a plan for what I want to animate, it's time to bake some cookies. So how do you make a cookie animatable? Well, I've baked several different versions of it. I have the full version, I have one with detachable arms so it can gesture, and then I have versions with just a single missing arm, and that helps sell impacts as the cookie's falling down. And I've actually used clay to create the face on the cookie, and it matches the icing pretty well. And what that lets me do is take the face off and change it for another one, so I can have the cookie express different emotions. So it can smile, it can frown, it can do a surprised face. So this is replacement animation, when you're swapping in or replacing objects each frame. And because it's big, bold shape changes with the cookie, that has a snappier look to it. So I'll just have to keep that in mind when I'm animating. Here's a quick look at my animation setup. I'm animating the cookies on this baking sheet, and I have the camera mounted on the ceiling for a top-down angle. Here's what I'm seeing as I animate. The number one question I get about stop motion is, how do you know how much to move the object each frame? And the answer is, I don't. I think it's a completely gut instinct thing. When I'm animating, I picture what I want the object to do. So I picture it in my mind, and then I just move the object each frame the amount that I need to create what I'm seeing in my head. So animating is really just problem solving, trying to get what's in your head into the object. I spent a total of 5 days animating, and I have about 50 seconds of animation. And I want to talk about some specific techniques and approaches to stop motion. So I think it's important to see the animation first. So let's watch the raw animation, and then I'll talk about it. Cool, so that's the animation. And I want to rapid fire through some animation tips. I pretty much only have 3 types of movements throughout this entire animation. 1, there's unintentional movement, where there's no anticipation. So that's external forces acting on the character. 2, intentional movements. That's where there is anticipation, so it's the character deciding to move. And then 3 is physics-based movement, and that's where gravity is in control. Be patient. You can see where I'm holding poses and letting them read. So you don't want to rush through your poses and lose the audience. Sometimes nothing is better. So when the gingerbread cookie blinks or winces in pain, I'm actually just taking the eyes away. And then when it hits on its side, I'm removing the arm. And you don't see a missing arm, you just register it as a hard squash. So for this kind of stuff, you're thinking about what the audience registers, not what's actually happening. Be dynamic. So you always want to think about changes in speed. I'm always thinking about the rhythm of slow, fast, fast, slow, fast, slow. Go big with your frames. So the cookie hitting really hard, those hard hits are sold with big increments. So I see a lot of beginning animators, they're really timid about this kind of thing and tend to dial it back to really small, even increments. But just go big. You can get away with anything in animation as long as you ease out of it. It's animation, so you can do anything you want. I had a lot of fun using extra cookie bits, candy, and even some clay to create motion blurs and streaks. So just remember, it's animation, try anything you want. And lastly, always know where you're going with your animation. This is 600 frames of animation that I just had to make up on the spot. I didn't practice or plan with the actual cookies, but because I had a solid roadmap with my storyboard, I had confidence that the animation would work. And that's it for Kevin's animation tips. Let's move on to post-production. The post-production of this animation is sponsored by ViewSonic. They just hooked me up with this Color Pro Series ultra-wide curved monitor, and it's making a world of difference in my video editing. It's super important to me that my animation looks perfect when I'm sharing it to social media, and the only way to make sure that happens is by using a professional monitor that shows me accurate and consistent colors. There are a few things I need to do to enhance and fix this animation. I've gone in and added snowflakes throughout the video, and that just helps sell that the gingerbread cookie and the camera are falling. I didn't want to deal with these elements while animating, and I can actually control their timing much better in post-production. I also wanted to enhance the part where the gingerbread cookie and the candy cane fall into the stocking. I felt like there wasn't quite enough cause and effect with the stocking reacting to the weight, so I just added some stretch to make it more clear. For compositing, all I really need to do is key out the green background, crop the animation, and then place it on a pretty background. Color correction is something I've never really been great at, but I've been working hard to improve. And now that I'm using the ViewSonic Color Pro Series monitor, I can trust that what I'm seeing while editing will match what I post online. Without a professional monitor, your colors might look completely different when you share your content. Here's a comparison of the raw animation to the final color correction. And with all the post-production completed, here is the final animation. Can I animate Christmas cookies? Yes, I think I can. I'm super happy with how this turned out. This animation was a ton of fun to make, and I got to eat a lot of cookies along the way. Being left alone to animate for days at a time. That's really my creative happy place. I love it. And I love the problem solving of stop motion. So this was a really fun project to do. With that said, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more animated content, and have a great holiday season. I'll see you in the next video.